Noakes, president of Immunobiotech over in Europe. They're getting the GcMAF, human protein from colostrum and blood. And I saw in our video that we had on our front page, David Noakes, that it's quite a job to even come up with, 1/1,000,000,000th of a gram of this GcMAF?
It is indeed. We are only aware of one other company that did it properly, and that was a Californian company who were closed down rather brutally by the FDA 4 years ago. They had it right and they had it properly tested, and we tested it. And they were making really good GcMAF. And we test our batches, every batch we test 9 times, because it is so easy to get it wrong. We put every batch through 3 sterility tests. Our sterility has always been perfect. We always get it tested by an independent laboratory as well, just so people don't say we're fudging the figures.
Right.
And our sterility has always been perfect. But we then put it through 3 activity tests. Is it live GcMAF or dead GcMAF? And the last 2 are the most interesting. We put human breast cancer cells in a petri dish with human immune system macrophages, and nothing happens. And then we add the latest batch of GcMAF, and then the macrophages eat all the cancer cells in 3 days. And we have time-lapse photography on that, and we put that on YouTube, and we got 5,000 hits in the first year. And Gwen Stefani, who sings my favorite song at the time, It's My Life, she got 2 million hits.
Oh, be darned. Well, David Noakes, talk about some of the real-life success stories that you can validate that you've had with, say, the big one, the big C, the boogeyman, with cancer.
Okay, well, the best documented ones we have are our clinic in Lausanne.
Lausanne?
We treated Lausanne in Switzerland.
Okay.
And we treated 76 cancer patients over the course of a year, and we sent 77% of them home with an average tumor reduction size of 25%. And we sent them home recovering. I mean, they were all terminal stage 4. They were all going to die, and 77% of them left our clinic no longer dying and already significantly improved. My favorite story there is a woman. We wouldn't let anyone into the clinic unless they had 3 months to live, on the basis we didn't want to embarrass the Swiss. So, but this woman arrived. She walked upstairs, sat down in the treatment room, and died. And I maintain that's not 3 months from downstairs to upstairs. It's not 3 months. So she definitely, shall we say, fooled us, about the amount of time that she had to live. And she actually, we knew she had liver cancer, which we can get rid of quite easily. And she was terminal stage 4 liver and breast cancer. But she also had brain cancer. And that's what killed her. It was a brain cancer. She didn't know about that. And her family then immediately went into a vicious attack on us and said they were going to close us down. We're awful, etc., etc. And meanwhile, my 2 nurses were working on her dead body, restarted her heart and breathing. One of my biomedical scientists got a 40% tumor reduction in a week. We sent her home, and 2 years later, she's alive and well and still living in Newcastle.
No kidding. Oh, my goodness. When you say you sent them home, David Noakes, why did you not keep them there until the tumors were all the way gone?
It takes too long. It takes over a year typically to get rid of a tumor with GcMAF. So it's just too long, too expensive. But if they do the home protocol, we tell them what to do when they go home. They have a very good chance of getting there. But it's amazing. 30% of the people leave the clinic, go home, and they don't do any of the protocol. So they do live about an extra year, but then the inevitable happens, and the terminal does become terminal. They have to keep doing the protocol if they want to live and if they want to have a chance of being cancer-free.
So in theory, let's just say perfect world, do you think, I mean, I guess this is an argument, watching your video on our website this morning, I guess it is an argument for all of us who keep working and staying very, very healthy, and even if we get sick, because the body is equipped with this GcMAF from God, right?
That's absolutely correct. If you believe in God,
well, whatever, God, yeah, right. But we come in with this GcMAF is there.
Yes,
and it's only not there if the people are weak, very weak, and well, what would your words be?
Well, first of all, of course, GcMAF is a human protein, a human body part, and a human right.
Okay.
We all have a right to all our own body parts. We have a human right to them. So what happens is, if you get weak, let's say you're perfectly fine, your immune system doesn't work without GcMAF, so let's say you're fine, your immune system's fine, everything's working perfectly. You have to become weak to give disease a chance. So maybe you get pneumonia, maybe your wife leaves you, or your house gets repossessed, or something nasty happens. You get heavily stressed, and that gives the disease a chance to grow, to be large enough, where it can manufacture nagalase.
Mm-hmm.
And it sends the nagalase out to prevent production of your body's own GcMAF.
Yeah. It's an interesting... is that science or is that a theory?
No, that's science. We know that for a fact. We've known that for 25 years.
Mm-hmm. Nagalase? Who? Nagalase? My goodness. Now, we're getting all kinds of emails. People want to get some of this stuff. Is it even legal for you to sell it in the United States?
Well, the U.S. can't ban it because it's a human protein. No one can ban it. And, of course, it's only present in the human body in billionths of a gram. So it's very difficult for a government to legislate against it because, firstly, they can't find it, and secondly, it's a human right.
Oh. So is it available in the U.S.?
It is, although I have to say that customs are now stealing about 30% of all our shipments.
30%.
So what we do is we send, we send it again. If it still doesn't get through, we refund the customer, which is colossally expensive for us.
Yeah, I guess so. So it is an expensive substance.
Well, a round of chemotherapy is £40,000. That's $60,000. And a vial of GcMAF is €450. So it's enormously less expensive than chemotherapy. Ridiculously.
Uh-huh. And for €450, which is what, about 600 US or something, how long does that last, the vial?
If you're taking 2 shots a week, there's 8 shots in the vial, so it'll last a month.
Mm-hmm. Here's an email for you, David Noakes. How does GcMAF aid in the cellular oxygen transport?
Wow, that's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Say that again.
How does GcMAF aid in cellular oxygen transport? I guess this person is arguing that that's what really gets rid of diseases and stuff, is cellular oxygen.
Yes, it's not something we've researched, I don't think.
Okay. Fair enough. Here's one.
No, I don't think we have.
Will this eventually be released to the public to use? So I guess you've answered that. It is. What is your website?
Well, the science website is gcmaf.eu. And if you go, we don't actually supply it ourselves anymore, our distributors do. But if you go to the immunobiotech.eu website, we put you in touch with our distributors.
Mm-hmm. Do you have science or do you have theories on what as you've been working with this, if cancer, this thing called cancer, whatever it is, cancer cells is is connected up with a virus or a fungus or a bacteria?
We have theories on that. There is a belief that GcMAF, that cancer is caused by viruses and fungus and flukes.
Yes.
By parasites. Mm-hmm. We're investigating that at the moment. It does look as though that is very probably true. And that is why a lot of people with cancer try to detox.
Yes.
If you can get rid of the parasites and the bacteria, can you get rid of the cancer? We don't know yet. We're still looking into it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think there has been quite a bit of evidence over the years, David Noakes, through different clinics, juicing and Gersons and people over in Europe, as you know, that they get the body detoxed and really fired up again, and people have, their body is healed from it. I guess we've seen that over the years, haven't we?
Yes. I mean, there are a number of ways of getting rid of cancer. If you go to a website, chemokills.info, they list about 14 ways that you can get rid of cancer, of which GcMAF is just one.
Mm-hmm.
GcMAF's a nice way to do it because it's easy and it has no side effects. But even with GcMAF, you've got to give up sugar. Sugar is the one thing that cancer eats. It's the only thing that cancer eats. And you've got to go on a paleo diet.
Oh, so get rid of the carbs because they produce sugar.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we know that cancer does like sugar, right? Cancer cells.
Yes. And we've known that since 1924 when Dr. Otto Warburg, PhD, published a research paper on it. And since then, there have been hundreds of research papers confirming that cancer can only eat sugar.
Now, the common theory around David Noakes is that all these diseases classified as autoimmune are all related to a virus or a bacteria. So talk a little bit about that and your company's experience.
Well, yes. I mean, GcMAF is great with autoimmune immune diseases. So colitis, Crohn's, IBS, all of those sort of diseases, GcMAF is very effective with. Autism's an interesting one. Dr. Jeffrey Bradstreet called me up in May 2011 and said, I want to use your GcMAF on autism. And I said, well, it won't work. Autism's not a viral disease. And he said, well, I think it will work. So I sent him some, and 8 weeks later he called me up and said he had formerly autistic children who were no longer autistic.
How many?
And since then, this was how many? Well, this was back in 2011, so, only about half. But since then, he's treated about 2,000. And around the world, we've treated about 3,500 autistic children.
Really?
And when we started out, when we started out, we were improving the lot of 85%. But within that 85%, 15% no longer appeared to have autism. And then when we came out with the GcMAF 2 product, that figure went up to 25%. And then finally in the clinics, when we started using ultrasonography to open the blood-brain barrier, ultrasonography is the system you use to see your baby in the womb. So it's completely non-intrusive. You hold an ultrasound probe against the brain after breathing in GcMAF, and that opens the blood-brain barrier, and now we're successful with 60% of autistic children. So it's gone from 15 to 25 to 60%.
Really?
And Dr. Jeffrey Bradstreet was at the heart of all that research. He was the man that was driving it all, and that was the success of the man. A very kind, gentle man who enriched the lives of everyone he met and the hundreds he cured.
And for those